We very, very nearly reached only 3 shy today. A grim milestone as almost 30,000 illegal immigrants have arrived in Britain under the Labour Party. Now that represents an incredible 40% year-on-year increase. Well, so much for smashing the gangs. Plus, Channel migrant crossings this year have passed 5,500 in record time, despite Labour's attempts to crack down on people smugglers. Well, joining me now to discuss this is the person who knows a thing or two about this topic. It's the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. Suella, thank you for joining us on the show.
Good evening,
today.
Martin.
Before the election, we were warned of a star marder, a number of boats pouring in, and of course, number 10 said no. We will smash the gangs. We will succeed where your government failed in stopping the boats. But the facts are the facts and the numbers don't lie. It's a grim picture. We're looking at a new record, 30,000 under Labour.
You're right. It gives me no pleasure whatsoever to say that the government's plan to smash the gangs, as you coined it, the Star Marder, which I really like. I might pinch that, Martin, if
Please
you don't
do.
mind. Is not working. It's woefully failing. They're reaching record numbers. The numbers of illegal migrants entering the country since July is up by 40%. And, you know, promises have been made. People have put their faith in this government, and it's just not working. And it's a disgrace because the real-world impact of this is huge. The numbers of illegal migrants or asylum seekers in our hotels has risen exponentially. It's gone up. It's now about 38,000 asylum seekers housed in hotels all over the country, in my constituency, due very soon, which is something that people are very unhappy about. And that is an increase of about 8,000 since July. So on any metric, this government is failing. It's letting down the British people, and it's understandable if people are angry about it.
Now, the Labour Party said that they would end asylum hotels. The opposite has happened. In fact, the 30,000 illegal immigrants who've poured in, by the government's own money, it's £124 a night. Now, by my maths, that's £4.26 million every single day. The budget is already £5.5 million every single day. The cost of asylum now over £6 billion every year. It's fair to point out that this was a problem that Rishi Sunak couldn't solve. It's fair to point out it's a problem that your government, when you were Home Secretary, couldn't solve. What can be done about this in the future? Because the public are simply starting to believe that no political party has the appetite to stop the boats or smash the gangs.
I can understand why they feel that way. And as Home Secretary, I inherited this problem. And you're right, my party, my government didn't succeed on stopping the boats. I should say in the year that I was Home Secretary, we managed to get the numbers down by about 20-30%. We also started the hard work of reducing the number of hotels that were being used by asylum seekers. And we did that by painstaking operational work, looking at where these thousands of asylum seekers were housed, trying to provide more bespoke asylum accommodation and, you know, getting them through the system more quickly. Obviously, we didn't succeed in solving the problem entirely, but we did begin to turn the tide. And I think that, you know, obviously people feel very angry with the Conservative government. That's why they booted us out of office. And immigration, and in particular illegal migration, was one of the big failings. But you know, people had expectations and they put their faith in the Labour government. And, you know, it's all right to keep looking back now at what the Conservatives did, but it's Labour's responsibility now. They've got a mandate. They've got the levers of power. They run the Home Office. They run the government and the operational side of things. They could change the laws if they really wanted to. And you asked what needs to happen. There needs to be a robust approach to border control. So first of all, we need to come out of the European Convention of Human Rights. I sound like a broken record, but I'll keep saying it until it happens, because that's how we stop these people making claims and gaming the system. We then need to absolutely make our border control much more robust. So we need to actually detain immediately upon arrival and remove illegal migrants very quickly, i.e. to a safe country like Rwanda.
Now, all of this sounds great, but you didn't do it. You didn't achieve it in power. That's the stark reality. And today, the Labour Party announced that they were scrapping a contract brought in by your government, and that is the Stay Belvedere Hotels Group, responsible for 51 hotels, about a quarter of asylum accommodation. That's been scrapped. A lot of people contacting us here at GB News fear that, like Neighbourhood Watch, it won't solve the issue, it will move the issue. And they're concerned it will move the issue into housing, into communities, people on your street. And in particular, they're concerned about the 1.5 million new homes that are being earmarked to be built. They'll be filled with asylum seekers. The government admitted as much yesterday. Nobody voted for new builds for new asylum seekers.
You're absolutely right, and I think it is disgraceful. If Angela Rayner's house building her plan to build 1.5 million new homes in the next Parliament, means that many of those homes go to asylum seekers. That cannot be right. That's taxpayers' money, that's land that should be going towards people who are in need of housing. I've got over 1,000 people locally in my borough who are in need of housing. British people, sometimes people who have, served for our armed forces, people who are deserving of a place, and they are being shunted to the bottom of the queue because illegal migrants will often be put at the top of the queue.
In that case, so many people contact GB News and say, we have our own homeless. And as you say, particularly veterans. And I know in your constituency, there's like a country pile that's been acquired and it's been earmarked for asylum seekers. An astonishing life of luxury, a lap of luxury. Why can't there be a simple policy? We've heard before, British jobs for British people. Why not British homes for British people? Why can't we just put some legislation in saying there should be a pecking order and Brits could and should come first? Why didn't the Conservative Party do that in power? And do you think that's a good idea moving forward?
Well, I'll tell you why it's not been done. Again, it's because of human rights. Because asylum seekers come here, or illegal migrants come to the country, and the minute they're in the United Kingdom, they are able to claim free housing. And there's a duty which is imposed, a legal duty.
With a priority.
With a priority.
They're at the front of the queue.
The Home Office will be breaking the law if it doesn't provide accommodation for an asylum seeker or an illegal migrant.
So why can't we change that law?
It needs to be changed. It needs to be changed because, frankly, the human rights of illegal migrants have become more important than the human rights of British people. That's not the right balance, and that's why we need to come out of this distorted, wrong-headed European Convention of Human Rights.
Is it the European Court of Human Rights, or is it a convenient smoke and mirrors? For example, Germany closed its borders to anybody. Austria did the same. Though the land borders have been closed. And Germany say they're going to deport Afghanis to the Taliban. They're in the ECHR. They're even in the European Union. Is it really about that, or is it just actually a lack of political stones?
It is a combination of that. So there is a lack of political will currently to do the necessary job of stopping illegal migration. But leaving the ECHR is the first step. It is not the last step to fixing our border crisis. We need to overhaul our legal regime because we have a highly litigious environment which is fuelled by charities and NGOs, non-governmental organisations, which fund and support claims, often vexatious and ludicrous claims, put in by illegal migrants. Now, that environment doesn't exist in other European countries. The combination of an activist legal environment, I say this as a recovering barrister and lawyer myself, I worked in that field for a few years, the combination of the highly legalised environment, the Human Rights Act, which, again, other countries don't have, which is a domestic piece of law that Tony Blair enacted, which emphasises and emboldens the human rights laws, plus the European Convention on Human Rights, is an asylum seekers or illegal migrants paradise, and that's where we're going wrong.
We often hear the law is an ass. Is it fair to say that the legal system has been captured politically? Is there an argument for two-tiered justice where barristers, KCs even, actually are taking the side of illegal immigrants, taking the side of asylum seekers?
I think there is a strong element or strain within the legal profession and the judiciary, whereby there is it's been used before, the lefty lawyer. Strain is very strong within the legal profession. And
so
you get a lot of activist lawyers who are, they've come very close to campaigners, and they use laws and they use the courts and they use cases for campaigning purposes. And they have some of these cases which have come up recently have come from English judges. These are not European judges, but British immigration judges have found that we can't deport foreign criminals because, their son wouldn't enjoy the chicken nuggets abroad or something absurd like that.
Nigerians joining a prescribed terrorist organisation to avoid deportation.
Those are British judges. Those are not European judges, so that's their culture.
We know the framework of the problem. Is there any possibility of the Conservative Party uniting around a solution? And I say that because the Conservative Party couldn't unite around Brexit. It was two parties on that. Is there really the appetite in Tories, who you may call them wets, in the Shires? Is there really the appetite for those kind of Conservatives to unite around the flag of leaving the ECHR, of going full Trump, of deporting, of being hardline, or is this simply a fantasy that we'll never get in Britain?
Listen, I think the case is becoming, the case is compelling now for leaving the ECHR. Reform of the ECHR is not viable. There are, many other countries with whom reform has been tried before and it's failed. And ultimately, we need to extricate ourselves from the jurisdiction of a foreign court which is politicised and interventionist. And we can't really fudge that. You're either in or you're out. You're either bound by the ECHR or you're not bound. And I think that leaving the ECHR, combined with those other changes relating to judicial review and operational border control, more powers for detention and deportation, could really work as a solution on this border crisis. But, half measures won't do. We've seen those fail under the Conservatives, and they're failing again under Labour.